Welcome back to the Last Week This Week podcast, episode 24. I'm Ian Scott.
24. And I'm his co-host, Zack. Zack Huber.
Yeah, and this is the podcast where we talk about nerd culture stuff from the past week and this week. And this week we got a bunch of nerd news to go over with you.
Yeah, they'll be all in time codes, but yeah, we got a lot of stuff from Marvel, specifically Fantastic Four, stuff for Deadpool 3, also maybe the role that Robert Downey Jr. might have had if he wasn't Iron Man.
The generational role of a lifetime.
We're also going to have John Wick, Will Ferrell as John Madden,
the two Johns, and some big Spider-Man news,
which is what we're going to start off with.
Yep.
So just like an hour ago, they had Amy Pascal, who is the producer for the Sony movies.
I mean, it seems like she's either like a head of Sony Productions, like one of their departments, or like, and she's also kind of been like almost like a liaison between the two, like MCU and Sony.
Yeah. So with Into the Spider-Verse, I think it's Into the Spider-Verse, right?
Yeah.
Or Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh, the new movie coming out?
Across the Spider-Verse coming out. What she said in an interview on Variety is that a Spider-Woman movie and a live-action Miles Morales movie are in the works. Quote, "You'll see all of it.
Yeah.
It's all happening." And another producer said that a Spider-Woman movie is sooner than you expect. And so me and Ian were saying, I was under the impression that because it said a Spider-Woman movie and a live-action Miles Morales meant that the Spider-Woman movie's probably animated.
Right.
But Ian was saying that maybe they just wanted to clarify live action for Miles because he hasn't had one yet.
Right. I mean, and the biggest thing, coming out for Miles right now, like in the next week is an animated movie for him.
Right.
So I feel like you really have to specify with that character. But yeah, I mean, Spider-Woman's an interesting one because it's not like, we've gotten that interpretation in a recent like piece of media, right? Like the closest thing we've gotten is Spider-Gwen.
Yeah, which is interesting because when I was reading through the article, they were specifically talking to like having Haley Steinfeld, who plays Gwen.
Okay.
Spider-Gwen, that she was basically saying that this is her dream job and so sign me up over and over again. And I don't know if this is referring that she would take on the role of Spider-Woman.
Right.
Or if she's... Because I know that she's
sounds like it.
Closely related to the Spider-Woman character who's going to be in this next movie coming out. So maybe it's like a...
What do you mean closely related?
She's mentored by her, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So... It'll be interesting to see if there's like a taking up of a mantle or if she's just going to be a part of that movie, because I have heard really good things about the Spider-Woman character.
I mean, if it's a spin-off of Spider-Verse, I'm all for it. And I'll talk about it later in the podcast, but I just watched the first one.
Yeah.
And I mean, and all of those characters could have their own spin-off and I would be okay with it. So yeah, if they develop her character more and make her Spider-Woman and give her own animated movie, I'd be okay with that.
I could be cool with it. I guess I really like the Spider-Gwen persona.
Yeah.
And I don't know why that couldn't be its own thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So, but, if she turns out to be Spider-Woman, I'm eager to see how this next movie is going to go. But we had talked in a previous episode about how they might have a live action Tom Holland in the next movie.
Right.
And that I would assume would mean a live action Miles. So I'm guessing that we do see a live action Miles in this next movie. But I don't, the thing is I did look at the actor who plays Miles. He's much too old.
Sure, yeah,
to be
he is
to be Miles now.
Yeah, I mean, I do think like it's very possible we just see animated Miles and live action Peter together.
Maybe.
And that we don't get a live action Miles. But
I mean, they already showed, I didn't know how they were going to do it.
yeah.
But I guess they did show like the Spot, who's like one of the villains in this next movie in Venom. Like,
yeah, I saw a TV ad where like a portal opens up in the convenience store.
So,
yeah.
And that was like that was actually shot like on a camera. Like that was the
Wild.
So
yeah.
I guess there is a bit of like that Who Framed Roger Rabbit-esque thing that they're doing, which hopefully is I mean, I've heard nothing but good things about the movie, so
we'll
I
mean, I'm very excited. But yeah, I mean, the other part of this news is the live action Miles Morales thing. And here's the thing. I just watched a Miles Morales origin story.
Yeah.
I played it as well in 2020 when it came out in PS5. I don't know if this story came out in like a year or two, I'm not sure I'd be like that thrilled to watch it because I've seen it twice in like recent memory, you know? And yeah, it's a story that deserves its own live action, but I just don't know if I'm that excited to see it.
But what if it's a Miles Morales live action that's not the origin story?
That would be surprising. I feel like, I mean, because not everyone has seen into the Spider-Verse. I mean, I feel like sure a lot of people have now, but obviously not everyone has played the game. So I feel like you're gonna get a lot of general audiences who haven't fully been introduced to Miles yet, and you're like, oh well, let's just throw him into his own like already developed story.
Okay.
So I don't know.
You do the live action Miles. Who's Peter Parker?
Or maybe Peter Parker's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, that's I mean, spoilers. That's how they did it in Spider-Verse.
But there's
still a Peter Parker. Okay,
which
sure.
He still always has the mentor.
Yeah. I don't think they make
Tom
Peter.
Holland.
I'm under the impression they don't make
Toby
any of the previous three
the
mentor. I think they go with somebody new because I feel like it would almost take away from Miles' story to see like, you know, Toby or Andrew in that role. I feel like you'd be like, oh, I'm going for them, you know?
Maybe. I could see that, sure.
But it sounds like you really want.
I would prefer like a Toby.
Yeah, I mean, Toby would be very cool.
Or an Andrew, not Tom. He's too young.
He's too young. I mean, Tom literally in that universe is just graduated high school.
Yeah.
So, yeah, too young.
Which I guess we should mention that they are in the works for Spider-Man 4. It's just on pause because of the writer's strike.
Yep.
Which was, so I guess, I don't think I had a doubt that it was happening, but
I guess I kind of did because there were some comments from the main actors who were just like, yeah, I think we're pretty happy with how the trilogy went and we're kind of good now. You know, I was like, excuse me? Yeah. But I think the studio is going to make it happen, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it made a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
But Spider-Woman movie, interested.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see the new movie to know how I'm gonna feel. But obviously they have big plans.
Mm-hmm.
Live action Miles, I'm down for. I know you've seen the story a lot. I think it's a great story. Just like
it is a good story.
You know, like Martin Scorsese's gonna make a movie about Jesus again. There's another movie about Jesus.
Uh-huh.
I mean, regardless, it's a good story. I guess.
Sure. So, I guess I need some time.
I agree. I mean, there's been a lot of Miles. Which is not a bad thing.
No, I mean, who would have thought at one point that we would even be saying this, right? Like, this character was made 12 years ago. So
was it?
Yeah, I mean, I at least I saw yesterday that his first appearance was in 2011.
Oh wow!
So yeah, very very crazy fast timeline that Miles shot up to the top of the charts here.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great character.
Yeah.
So and then Spider-Man 4. Guess that's cool.
Yeah,
that they're making another one. So
yeah, a lot of cool Spider-Man news.
So we're gonna move on to Fantastic Four, which is the rumored Fantastic Four cast. And this is not confirmed.
It's not even really been like heavily reported. It's just like what's been really rumored around the internet right now.
Yeah, but I was surprised because like Forbes was like reporting this
really?
too.
Okay, cool.
And it was from we've gotten stuff from them before, but it was at My Time to Shine on Twitter. So this is the cast. Adam Driver as Reed Richards, Margot Robbie as Sue Storm, and Paul Mescal as Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch, and then Daveed Diggs as Ben Grimm / The Thing.
Yeah.
I love pretty much all of these, except I'm a little iffy about, and I love him, but I'm a little iffy about Adam Driver as Reed Richards, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
I think he's fantastic. Like, I think he's a great actor, and he could probably do it if this casting's true.
It's just not the look any of us were expecting.
No,
like,
but it's not the look, sure. It doesn't have to necessarily be the look, but
you would like it to be, but yeah.
But I think everybody else, although I haven't seen Paul
Mescal,
in anything.
Yeah, I heard he's like an indie film actor, so this is kind of like a big surprise, I guess, for him to be showing up here.
Yeah, but he is going to be in the new Ridley Scott Gladiator sequel.
Oh, okay.
And he did get like an Oscar nom for like After Sun, which came out last year. And so like I know
I mean, they're clearly getting like 4 very talented actors here.
Yeah, but I love Daveed Diggs, and if this is true,
yeah. So what's he from?
So he was basically super popular from Hamilton, the original play, like the Broadway. He was he played 2 characters. I forget, but he's also he's been acting and stuff. He was in Snowpiercer.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Which was the TV show based off of the movie, and a couple other things. He's also like the lead rapper in this like hip hop electronic outfit, which is how I first knew him.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know. Like they're called.
You didn't know he was an actor, right?
No, like so they're called Clipping, and I had no idea back in the day.
Very cool.
But he's great. I think that's an inspired choice. If that's true, him as like the Thing. I think he's got a great voice. He's done a bunch of voice acting. Like he's in The Little Mermaid.
Oh, cool.
He plays Sebastian.
Nice.
So
yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I think like. You know, and I'm not trying to like come off negative or like controversial, but I do think like race swapping is never like super necessary.
Sure.
And so like I'm sure he's a great actor, you know, but you know, besides that,
I don't think it's that important though.
Because here's the thing,
you know,
like because you know, like less than halfway into the movie, he's gonna transition into this rock monster where you never see his skin again. So like. You're really getting a voice actor for this role.
Yeah.
So you know, in that sense, I don't have much of a problem. I think it's much better than the rumored like, you know, like sex swapping we were gonna get, where it was like Mila Kunis maybe who was gonna play the Thing.
Yeah.
Which would have been really weird and bad.
Super weird.
Yeah.
Super weird. That's the one thing that I was like, is it imperative that Ben Grimm is this white guy male?
Right. Oh, well, I mean, I think a male, yes, because like the character's like, you know, a football star and like, you know, does construction.
But you could do like, she's a, I don't know, field hockey star, basketball star. I don't know, but it just, that is one of those things that's like weird, little weird.
Yeah.
I like this.
I think, it doesn't bother me that much. Yeah,
I think the person that we've been excluding this whole time is Margot Robbie.
Yeah,
which look,
I think she's a great actress.
She's a fantastic actress. She looks like Sue Storm.
Yes, that's huge. Yeah, I mean, like, here's the thing: nobody else like really like looks exactly like their character, and she really does.
She really does.
Yeah.
I really do like her as Harley Quinn.
Oh yeah, I think she's perfect as Harley Quinn.
But I would really like to see her in this role.
I don't even doubt that she can do both. Like I think she could kill both, like in very different ways. You know,
I will say that Jessica Alba back in the day, like she was a good Sue Storm.
She was.
I liked her.
I did too. I mean, I think that whole cast is pretty great, to be honest.
I loved that whole cast. I like those movies, unfortunately.
I'd have to watch them again.
It's
been a long time for me.
If I'm not saying that I'm not saying that now.
Sure. But back then you were
but
like,
I was
hell
obsessed.
Yeah.
Like I love those movies.
Right.
But yeah, I mean,
so
if this is the cast, I think it's a good cast.
I'm
just intrigued about the Adam Driver bit.
Sure, it's very intriguing, but I think this is like, to me, the first Marvel movie I can think of where it's like a whole, like, all new faces coming in, and all the faces tend to be like really well established actors, you know, like and it's not even like a popularity thing. Like, yeah, like Margot Robbie and Adam Driver are super popular, but I feel like they're maybe a step above like the acting class we usually get in Marvel. So I think it would be, this is like a really exciting foursome that,
I mean, that's
the bringing in.
It just makes me think that the script must be quite good.
Right. If these actors want to actually join for the script, yeah, I agree. It's got to be really good. So this is maybe 3 times in a row we've gotten a pretty crazy cool cast.
What would be the other?
Well, I mean, you got Miles Teller and Michael B. Jordan. You know, I think that was a pretty great cast for the second iteration. It was a terrible movie.
Was it? Yeah, it was a cool cast. I actually was looking at pictures of them when they were playing those roles like not too long ago, and I was like, wow, Michael B. Jordan looks like a baby.
They all look so young. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So hopefully they just don't ruin the writing a third time. How about that?
Yeah. Well, and we'll get on to, you know, somebody playing a Fantastic Four character later, but we're gonna do our hypotheticals this week, which if you listen to the podcast or first time, is we come up with a hypothetical, an idea, like what if, and we ask each other the prompted question.
Yeah.
And this week, because there's been pictures of Halle Berry sporting a very
similar color,
Storm-esque hair to her X-Men character from the OG movies. That, and she said like something about like good things come to like people who are just like be patient or something.
Okay.
And so a lot of people
are thinking like
she's probably in Deadpool maybe, because they're filming right now.
They're filming right now, yeah.
So my hypothetical is, if you could pick any of the OG X-Men characters that is not Wolverine or Professor X or Magneto, because everybody wants to see them, who would you want to come into Deadpool 3?
So I have multiple characters that I would like to see. But it's mainly from like a specific group of the X-Men. I basically want the main students to show back up. Like that's like I want Iceman and Rogue and Kitty Pryde and even OG Colossus. I want OG Colossus to meet the new Colossus, because that would be a cool multiverse like meeting moment. Like,
yeah, but one Colossus is much better than the other.
He's way more, sure, he's more charismatic. I'll give him that.
Deadpool Colossus is the best Colossus.
And here's the thing: they just didn't give him a lot of lines in the original trilogy. You know, he was very much a side character.
Yes,
but you know, I think that group of students was very cool, and I've always like wanted to see them like become the grown up, like competent adult versions of those characters, and I think we would see that in the movie.
You
know?
saw a bit of that in Days of Future Past.
Yes, you did in the beginning. You're right, but you know, Rogue wasn't there because she lost her powers.
Right.
So it was really just Iceman and Kitty Pryde.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Colossus was also there. Yeah, I think he was.
I can't remember. I do need to watch that again.
Yeah.
So those are yours.
Those are mine. And also I think it would be very cool for like those students to run into like a multiverse version of you know, Wolverine, and see how like they would react to that, or I don't know. I think there's a lot of cool possibilities there.
Yeah. Mine are kind of basic. But
okay.
it's just, there's a lot of X-Men characters I really like.
Yeah.
But for some reason, X-Men doesn't feel like X-Men if you don't have Cyclops.
I mean, Cyclops is one of my favorites of the X-Men. So I agree.
I would really love to see Cyclops.
Yeah.
And I would really, really love to see Nightcrawler again.
Nightcrawler, I agree. He was probably like one of the best things of X2. And the fact that he was just written out of the third movie pisses me off. It's like still to this day.
Yeah.
Like what happened there, guys? You just forgot about him?
I really want to see a great Nightcrawler. I really want to see Scott Summers. Jean Grey. I've seen a lot of Jean Grey over the years.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of Cyclops over the years too. So, but yeah. Probably Cyclops.
I also heard a rumor today, about Magneto being in the movie.
Yeah.
And that they're like probably going to be exploring his like really dark side to those that like hurt him and his friends. So that's kind of cool that we're getting like an even darker Magneto than like we possibly have gotten in the past.
I would love to know what that is because the literal first movie starts off with a concentration camp.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they're saying like the dark side of like, the actions that he takes, right? I think that's what they're trying to explore in the next one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I mean, yeah, we'll see. Yeah,
we'll see.
We'll see.
But yeah, I mean, Deadpool 3 could have literally any of the X-Men.
A tidal wave of mutants.
And I would be so happy.
Yeah, that was our hypothetical.
Yes, it was.
We are now going to talk about, so it's been 15 years of Iron Man of the MCU.
Yeah. I'm assuming, I don't know, for context, they released a video on the Marvel's YouTube channel where Kevin Feige and Jon Favreau just sat down and kind of reminisced about the making of Iron Man. Yeah.
I did not watch it.
It was a nice watch.
I do want to watch it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure maybe you can give some more insight of things.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a ton, I guess, for me to like give insight on, but yeah, I'll sprinkle in here and there, I guess. Yeah.
So basically, during that conversation, Jon Favreau was saying, quote, "I remember you had all met with Robert and were all ready for like Doctor Doom or something on another project." And he said, I think he had come through on maybe Fantastic Four, so everybody sort of knew who he was.
Right.
So basically what he was saying is...
And Kevin Feige just agreed with him there. Yeah.
He might have been Doctor Doom in a Fantastic Four movie, which I'm curious as to...
Or he was at least brought in to audition,
But like, I'm just curious, like, I think Kevin was like worked on those movies.
I think he was a producer on those movies.
But
yeah,
I'm wondering, like, was it under which like Marvel thing? Because still at the time it wasn't owned by Marvel.
Right. Because when he made Iron Man with Jon Favreau, it was they were under Marvel Entertainment, but they weren't under Disney yet.
Yeah.
And so Iron Man was an independent movie at that point, which is pretty crazy to think about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the thing is that like because of that, they were allowed to, bring in like a favorite of theirs, obviously, in Robert Downey Jr. and give him a real shot at making this work. And I mean, and even in the interview, like Jon Favreau says, like once Robert Downey Jr. was on set and acting like the way he was as, Tony Stark, he like the whole movie just came together for Jon Favreau because he knew how to write scenes for him and how to like just tie up scenes for that character, So I think that's a pretty that's pretty cool that he could have been Doctor Doom. I don't think it was ever like a real possibility, and I think we're all super happy he was freed up to start maybe the biggest franchise in history,
Yeah. I mean, could you imagine how his career would have gone if he was in one of those Fantastic Four movies as Doctor Doom?
I mean, I feel like maybe his comeback would have started like obviously sooner than, because Iron Man was his. I mean, maybe I guess he did Tropic Thunder before Iron Man.
But would he have had a quote unquote comeback?
Sure.
Like,
well, it wouldn't have been. It would have not nearly been as strong. It would have been like 10% of the comeback that he got now. And he's probably not this icon that we think of today. So very crazy track that took. Or maybe by the time 2008 comes around, they just say, screw it. He was great as Dr. Doom, but we want him for Iron Man too. And which I think is very possible.
Would have been fine because they did the same thing with Chris Evans.
The exact same thing. That would have been really weird for wow, I didn't even think about that. For Robert Downey Jr. to be the villain against Chris Evans, wow, I'm blanking on the name. But yeah,
Human Torch.
Yeah, Human Torch. That would have been crazy.
Which I thought he was a great Human Torch.
I agree. I mean, Chris Evans can play I don't want to say this term, but like a bad boy. Like he can play a villain like very well, but like that character is like, he's not a villain. He's a just an edgy dude. And I think Chris Evans has done that time and time again.
Right.
So
yeah, look at him and Scott Pilgrim.
Knives Out.
Oh yeah, Knives Out. But Knives Out, he's more douchey.
Sure, but he's still a villain.
Oh, no, but he's a villain in that. In Scott Pilgrim, he's more.
No, sure, no, he's a villain.
In
Scott Pilgrim,
he's quote unquote a villain.
He's one of the Exes. I mean,
yes, but, all right,
they
whatever.
have a fight scene.
Yeah. If you whatever, but no, it's pretty wild to think that maybe he wouldn't have been Tony Stark, but
I think it's possible. It could have happened.
It could have.
Either way.
I don't know who would have. Maybe Tom Cruise would have played Tony Stark.
Yeah. I kind of doubt that though.
Why?
I don't know if Tom Cruise would have signed on for an independent superhero movie back then, knowing like the landscape of superhero movies had been for that decade, because it was hit or miss at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
mean, it is again now, but yeah.
It is kind of now. I wouldn't say, because maybe.
Yeah.
Well, what is not a miss is John Wick, the newest John Wick.
Mm-hmm.
So the newest one, it on I guess the what is it? 363 million globally. So it just has kept rising after each movie.
And now the whole franchise has crossed $1 billion. So
yeah. Wow, that's cool.
It's very cool, yeah.
So basically what this next topic is that they have announced that a John Wick 5 is in early development.
Mm-hmm.
And so during a quarterly earnings call, the chair of the Lionsgate Motion Picture Group, Joe Drake, said, what is official? I don't know why I said it like that. Joe Drake. What is official is that, as you know, Ballerina is the first spinoff that comes out next year.
Mm-hmm.
And we're in development on 3 others, including 5, and including the television series, The Continental, which will be airing soon.
Mm-hmm.
And that we're building out the world. And when that 5 movie comes, it will be organic. And they're going to organically grow out the stories, and you can rely on a regular cadence of John Wick. So now, for anybody who hasn't seen John Wick 4, maybe skip ahead, because we're gonna
there's gonna be some spoiler talk in here.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
So you've been warned. So I like I said at the end of John Wick 4, I remember they're at the gravesite. For some reason, nobody else, like Donnie Yen's character. What was his character again? Kane. Yeah.
Okay.
Kane's not there, which you would think he might be. And it's just Winston and the I guess they call him King, which is Lawrence Fishburne's character.
Yeah, okay.
So they're at the gravestone that says Wick.
Right.
And also the dog's there. And you would basically think, he's dead, because he collapsed on the steps, got shot a shit ton, fell down like hundreds of stairs. Been going like that for quite a while.
A long time, yeah.
And now there was a scene where the dog kind of does a head turn, and you're like, I maybe that's nothing, but to me, I was like, well, maybe there's something there. I don't know, but yeah, they obviously wanted John Wick 4 to end there.
Well, the director did, yeah,
but
and probably Keanu Reeves too.
I guess they have left it sort of in a way that they can come back, but it's really pushing it. And I understand why they want to do it. And of course, I want to see more John Wick, but I was very satisfied for the most part of how John Wick 4 ended. And we can only speculate as to how and why on earth he would ever come back if he is alive.
Right.
But yeah, Ian, what's your thoughts on this?
I mean, for me, like when I first initially heard it, even though I wasn't like the most satisfied with the ending, I was pretty satisfied and it was enough. And I was like, okay, we can leave John Wick there. He died. He did what he needed to in his mind, and he's resting.
Yeah.
But the ending does leave it open because yes, he isn't they show a grave, but they don't show him being buried. They never fully show John Wick die, right? And I feel like the conversation that like even Winston and the King have is kind of like left vague enough and wide open enough that's like, oh well, he could still be alive, right? But I really do think like the 4 movies we got like it should very well be like it, and it's just because like that was such it was almost like a very well thought out, and I'm probably giving more credit to it, but, like the story flowed off of each movie to me, as to this, you're going back and the only reason he's faking his death is to retire again, right?
Right.
And so you're creating another scenario where he's being pulled out of retirement. And to me that doesn't seem as organic as I think they're wanting it to be in the future. But I still think like there's more work for John Wick to do. And so like in that sense I'm not upset because like now I can get the real finale that I wanted. Although, with our comments, it sounds like we're not going to get a finale at all because we're just going to have a regular cadence of John Wick in the future.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know. I'm very mixed about this.
I feel like the finale that you want is the high table to get destroyed. Which, if you do that, I would imagine there's no more John Wick universe.
Correct.
So maybe he becomes part of the high table.
Why would he? Oh, I don't like that.
I don't know.
I don't like that at
I don't
all.
know.
Yeah.
But I would like for it, if since they're gonna do it, yes, please make it work somehow. But maybe months or years later, because for some reason, John Wick, the first one, came out in 2014.
Wow, it did?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So
4 movies came out in 9 years. Okay.
And by the 4th one, which in John Wick time, it's only been like 2 or 3 months since the first movie.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of gray hair. So maybe let him like catch up his
I agree.
age.
I mean, here's the thing. Give it 5 years.
Sure.
I think that's a nice amount of time where we can take a breather and then pop back into John's life where he's somehow not dead and he can be a badass old man again,
It is frustrating
because we got a nice finale. Right.
But part of the whole thing about his character is that desire to
leave the game.
Yeah, and like he misses his wife and redemption and all these things. And by 4, you kind of have that.
You do.
So maybe something with Halle Berry's character, or who knows, maybe with Rina Sawayama's character, or who knows? But I just,
yeah.
I mean, it sounds like they have a lot on their mind. I hope
what's funny? Oh, sorry, go on.
No, go on.
I was racking my brain. I was like, Halle Berry, when was she in this? But it was the third movie. I just totally forgot about that character
with the dogs.
Yeah.
So I hope that all these movies and shows are done well.
Yeah.
I do feel I am nervous that there's just that, not like, if you don't have like that character like a John Wick, that it's not going to work as well. But we'll see.
Mean, I don't know. Like, to me, there were multiple characters like throughout the franchise that I was like, oh yeah, this is a very cool character, and they have great action. You know, like Kane, I could follow again easily, in his own solo story.
No, I mean, I think I could see that too.
Right.
That's a lot of properties without John.
Sure.
And I know John's going to show up in Ballerina, but I don't know. I think I want to see how they play out. It's just, they're very like, I come for the Keanu and the great action, and he's basically like the guy.
Yeah.
And so all the other characters are not the guy, which is fine.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Yeah.
But that's part of the myth of John Wick, you know?
With that spinoff that hasn't been announced yet, that we think is going to be, what was that actress's name? The one that you like?
Rina Sawayama. Yeah.
And you know, her and Donnie Yen. Yeah. I think that like that's obviously going to be the spinoff.
I am excited about that.
Because here's the thing. I think you could build her, like give her like a ton of development, and you could build her into a John Wick type character. Or, you know, you just have Kane kind of be that guy. Because I think he's very close to a John Wick type character.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Agreed. So we're going to move on to our next topic,
our next John,
which is, so this is via Deadline.
Yeah.
Will Ferrell will potentially play the character, not the character really, but the person, John Madden,
right, the person.
From NFL. He was the head coach. I don't know of what team.
Of the Raiders.
Of the Raiders.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And then obviously the Madden video games. So this is, I guess, this will be directed by David O. Russell, who has directed The Fighter, Silver Linings Playbook, American Hustle, all movies I love. Maybe not as much American Hustle, but and then I guess this will be more about him becoming famous in the video game.
It sounds like this is more about like how the video came like to be. You know,
the video game came to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And which is fine. I think my first thoughts on this is wow, really, Will Ferrell?
Look, it's not confirmed. It's just saying that he might.
Yeah, I don't know if like I don't know what it is, but like another sports movie did this recently too, where they cast this comedian as I'll say it now. Sean Payton, the Saints head coach. They cast Kevin Smith. Sorry, no, Kevin James. Kevin James. As Sean Payton.
For what movie?
Home Team.
Huh. Never
I think
heard.
that's what it's called. Basically, it's about the year where he went and coached like his son's league while he was suspended from the NFL.
Oh, okay.
But you know, he looks nothing like Sean Payton. And he's obviously like maybe the movie's a little bit comedic, but like Will Ferrell obviously also looks nothing like John Madden. I mean, not in any point in John Madden's life did he look a little bit like Will Ferrell.
Okay,
so
I hear you, but
yeah,
the one thing is now Will Ferrell is no Christian Bale, obviously.
Okay, they're very different lanes for them. Yeah,
but if you look at American Hustle, and if you look at The Fighter, David O. Russell's characters don't necessarily. You can do some prosthetics to make something like that maybe happen.
Okay. Yeah, you're not wrong.
But
Because you're thinking like Christian Bale changed for
literally every movie.
Sure, every movie. Yeah.
You know, in The Fighter, he lost like a shit ton. Well, he didn't lose a ton of weight, but he was a lot more skinnier. And
right.
And then in American Hustle, he like gained a lot of weight and did all this prosthetic with his hair. And
okay.
But and the same thing happened because he did Amsterdam recently.
I don't think I've heard of that one. Amsterdam?
It didn't do very well.
Yeah.
It had Christian Bale, John David Washington, and Margot Robbie.
It does sound familiar.
Anyways, can he do the voice? Because I think you got to do the voice too, right?
I mean, John Madden's voice is so iconic. I think, and it's a lot deeper than Will Ferrell's. You know, like yeah, I think Will Ferrell could maybe like possibly. I just don't know.
I mean, I think I'm intrigued. I think he could maybe do it. I mean, like I've watched a shit ton of Bill Hader impressions, and he can. His voice is like really high up here, and
then he just goes very.
You can
deep,
do
right?
like he can do super low. So
if Will Ferrell, if he pulls this off, I will be so impressed, so impressed. And maybe he should try and take this role, because maybe this could be the acting role of a lifetime for Will Ferrell.
Sure.
So
I mean, David O. Russell, I haven't watched like a lot of the recent movies, but I mean, he's obviously a great director, and I mean, maybe this will be like his, I don't know, like his turning point. Maybe he's wanting, but like I think a lot of David O. Russell movies tend to have a bit of comedy mixed in a good amount.
So
maybe not with The Fighter, definitely not with The Fighter, but
it sounds like this would be in his lane then.
So
right?
It doesn't seem like it's gonna be too serious,
right? I would mean if the rumor is Will Ferrell, it can't be that serious.
It would be pretty incredible though because Will Ferrell has done drama in the past. Like there was one movie that I think a lot of people thought, and like I thought was going to be his moment, where he was like, I'm a dramatic actor now, which is, he's like this, I forget what the movie is, but he's this guy.
It's Elf, isn't it?
Yes, it was Elf.
Yeah, nice.
No, he was like selling stuff. He was like divorced or something. It was a weird indie movie that I watched. I can't say I've... No, I don't expect you to, but he has done drama things in the past. It's not like he can't do it.
Sure.
It's just, you don't think that. Especially lately with him.
What, that he can like be a drama actor?
Well, it's just a lot of the stuff I've seen him in, like I'm just like... Oh,
it's very like...
Oh, boy.
Yeah, like classic comedy kind of stuff. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think what the other interesting thing about this is like... And I think it does give cadence to like the rumors of Will Ferrell, because like they're saying this is like maybe the rise of like the Madden video game, and I mean, and that like that takes place like, you know, in the like the later years of John Madden, even though is he still alive?
No.
Okay. Yeah. even though he was still alive until recently, and was voicing the Madden games until 2010. You know, like he had a whole coaching career, and then he had a whole commentary, like analysis career after that.
I think this is going to be also focusing on his friendship with Al Michael.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So, yeah. And you got to have somebody, I guess you don't need to do the voice, but it would be really sucky if you didn't have the Al Michael voice too. But like somebody be able to do a good Al Michael voice with it.
Maybe they just pull straight from the like recordings. There's so much recorded like audio from them,
but you can't do not a movie with that.
No, no. I'm just mean like when they're both in the booth at some point eventually in that movie.
Yeah, but if the voice sounds completely different, you know, the rest of the time it's like,
and then they're just talking like Will Ferrell and whoever else they get to play Al Michaels.
I'm John Madden.
Yeah. I know. It's a risky movie to make. I
think you should get that guy who does the John Madden impression. Have you?
I don't think I've seen him. Is he really good?
I'll show you. He's really good. No, I don't think you can. No, he's probably not a good dramatic actor. He's just a comedian.
But does he look like him?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, probably not.
Okay.
So
Well, maybe Will Ferrell just opens his mouth and this guy just like speaks in the background, right?
that would be some intense dubbing.
Yeah, it would.
I would say.
It very much would be.
All right. Well, and then lastly, our last topic is going to be about Andy Muschietti, who's the director of The Flash.
Yeah.
So we have two topics retaining to this. So one is somebody on Twitter asked him if he'd do a spin, what would his spin be of if he did the new DCU's Brave and the Bold, which is the Batman movie, and he said, "I don't think I can talk to that." So we'll just start with that, and then we'll go to the second thing. So,
I mean,
yeah, what do you think?
I think, here's the thing. I think it's a very, very real possibility that he directs the next Batman movie. And I say this because The Flash, James Gunn has already said it's his favorite movie of this year, which is saying a lot. And
it's a lot of people's.
Right. And he directed 2 Batman in this movie. And one is a very prominent part of the story. So I think this movie gives Andy Muschietti like the like confidence from James Gunn that he can like direct a crazy great superhero movie, and that he can like write and direct for the Batman as well. So I think this is a real possibility for sure.
Now, devil's advocate. Why would he want to work with DC/Warner Brothers again after all the drama that's ensued? And he's had this movie finished for a minute.
Yeah.
And he's had to deal with all this bullshit with Ezra.
Yeah.
2, maybe he's literally saying, I don't think I can talk to that because
why?
Because he doesn't want to stir up anything, Now, I guess you could say, I'm not really interested, or like, I think they already have something.
Right.
Sure. But I think you have a good point. Him directing 2 Batman in this movie. And I'm sure the movie's fantastic, and I'd love to probably see it. I wonder, maybe he's like, now he's being rewarded in some way for like sticking this whole thing out.
It kind of seems like it,
but
right?
I also don't know if he'd want to work with a lot of them.
So do you know what he's done in the past, like directing wise?
He did It chapters 1 and 2.
Okay. Because I was thinking,
at least the first one was
really well received,
really great.
Yeah, I guess I'm thinking like some people really do have that like insane passion and drive for superhero stuff, and maybe Andy Muschietti is one of those people.
He also did Mama, which I know you have not seen.
I've not seen, no.
But that is actually one of the first horror movies like I saw in a theater. And it was very good.
Okay.
So he's okay in my books.
Okay.
I don't love the ending of that, which I will go into tangent about, but I have with other people. But I don't think I can talk to that. Maybe. It's
a maybe, sure. But it's an interesting response to that question.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Secondly, when he was talking in having an interview alongside his producing partner, who's his sister, Barbara, he made this quote. He said this: "I don't think that there's anyone that can play that character as well as they did," referring to Ezra Miller as Barry Allen in The Flash. The other depictions of the character are great, but this particular vision of the character, they just excelled in doing it. And as you said, the 2 Barrys, it feels like a character that was made for them. So he's basically, a lot of people are saying like, and him included, is like not wanting to recast Ezra for any future Flash movies or whatever. And luckily, he can't make that call.
Sure.
Because I would not watch those movies at this point. Maybe if Ezra went through some, more therapy and time had passed, and
I guess I want real accountability,
yeah.
And I feel like we just haven't gotten that from Ezra yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. It's a lot harder to watch that movie, like a future Flash movie, than it is this one, because a lot of this was filmed before they had done any of their crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So yes, it would be rough if he was kept on, and I think James Gunn knows that. Like, I feel like the heads of DC know the 50-50 split. I feel like that DC fans are on Ezra. So yes, I'm glad Andy Muschietti is not making this decision, but yeah, I don't doubt it either, though, that they give a great performance in this movie, and that he wouldn't want to work with anyone else than Ezra at this point to play the Flash.
I'm sure he's really developed some sort of relationship with Ezra, and this is a lot more of a personal thing for him. And I'm sure he's saying nobody else could play that. I say bullshit, because like the same way that we're like nobody could have played Iron Man other than Robert Downey Jr. I mean, it's because we saw it and we're like, that was fantastic.
There were a ton of people responding to that, like saying that Ezra's the only one who could play this role, when everyone was like, Grant Gustin just did this for 10 years and he killed it. And I was like, I don't know if he killed it. But I think he was a good Flash.
Sure.
Obviously
variation.
Sure.
Too.
Sure. But obviously, he wasn't helped by the writing of that show. But I think that's a valid answer to that response from Andy Muschietti. That like you have somebody very recently who just did it very well. So I think if you wanted to, I mean,
we've had a shit ton of Batman who have all played their roles incredibly well,
right?
And also like Indiana Jones. That was not going to be Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
That was going to be Tom Selleck.
Yeah, but he was doing Magnum PI, so he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. But yeah, I think like for me, I wouldn't love to see like a sequel to this movie have somebody else. I just wouldn't want a sequel at all at that point. I think we just need a new.
We say that now, but let's see when we watch the movie in like 2 weeks.
You could be right. But at this point, I don't want a Flash sequel, because I don't necessarily want Ezra to stick around. And if Ezra can't stick around, then I don't think it works well for me and the continuity of that movie. So I just would need a new Flash in a new story.
I think it's understandable that it might be jarring to not have the same continuity, but I think we can all just go,
yeah, new story, new Flash. That's fine.
I wasn't going to say that. I was going to be like, why? Let's just it's just a different face. It's just a different face.
But different faces just
I get
they can really suck, man.
Sure, but
yeah, I don't know. I feel like myself and so many other people haven't even gotten over like the Spider-Man PS4 like switching faces,
Sure.
So I don't know. Who knows how well that'll go.
The thing about that Spider-Man trailer, now that you brought that up, that I didn't think about, they did not show his face at all. So now I'm like kind of curious as to what his face.
They didn't show Miles though either, though, right?
No.
Okay, so.
But I don't think they changed Miles' face.
No, they didn't. You're right. But I think a lot of people are predicting it'll be better, because the last face was just like planted onto the last person's like facial animations, so it didn't necessarily like give a lot of emotion when it should have. So I think it'll be better this time around. But yeah,
just give us the old Peter's face back.
It's so much better. So much better.
It is.
Yeah. But yeah, sorry to go off topic there.
No.
Yeah.
And then we're just gonna end the podcast with our what we watched this week. Ian, what did you get up to?
I mean, my big watch this week was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And that was pretty great. I'm not gonna lie. I think I was expecting like this amazing, like crazy great story because like James Gunn has it in his top 5. Like I've heard a lot of people say it's their favorite superhero movie of all time. I think it's great. I wouldn't say it's even my like favorite Spider-Man story of all time.
Oof.
But
that's kind of
because
what would you put above it?
Tobey's first Spider-Man.
And then what?
That it's I would probably say like the S tier Spider-Man at this point for me are like Tobey's Spider-Man 1 and 2, No Way Home, and Into the Spider-Verse. I think those are all S tier.
Okay.
I don't know where Into the Spider-Verse ranks among like the other 3 in that group, but yeah, I think like it's clearly like a great Spider-Man story.
Okay.
Like you have like there's so much like action that is able to be so well done because of the animation style. The original Peter, like his story, like the way they told it was great, and then like surprising us with his death was really great too, and then seeing all of Miles' story before it like breaks out into more of a multiverse story was, I mean, it's all really well done, and the group that's made from like the multiverse Spider-Man is amazing, honestly. Like they're all fantastic. I need a Penny Parker spinoff story because I think that character's so crazy cool.
Why is everybody obsessed with Penny Parker?
Penny Parker's great, man.
What about Peter Porker?
Yeah. I mean, Peter Porker's
Spider-Ham.
funny, but
You want a Spider Noir?
Spider-Man Noir I would take. Like that.
They are making, but it's not the
that
Nick
character.
Cage. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
It's a live action one. Did you know that?
I think so.
Yeah, weird, right?
I think we talked. Did we talk about it one time?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I think the movie ends really well too, where Miles gets his confidence. I mean, it's a really great origin story, like wrapped up into a multiverse story. It really jumbles a lot of things well, or it balances a lot of things well, I guess I should say. So
better than No Way Home did.
I would have to see No Way Home again to
I can
fully
guarantee you it
say
does.
that. But I still really love No Way Home.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like I still say it's an S tier Spider-Man for me.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm very excited to see Across the Spider-Verse in less than a week. So
less than a week. Yeah. Maybe probably have the review out for the next episode.
We will. Yeah.
Anything else that you watched? Just that?
I mean, I watched the first Rocky.
Oh wow.
I've seen it before, but I want to start on the Rocky movies now. So yeah, I mean, Rocky 1's very great. I was kind of worried like that it wasn't going to age super well because like filming and whatnot of like a low budget first movie, but I mean like it's really well filmed. I shouldn't have doubted it, obviously.
Yeah, it's funny. I was literally watching like a 5-minute clip of the actors from The Boys talk to each other. And the actor that plays MM was talking to I can't remember his name at the moment, but Huey, and he was basically like, I've watched all of the Rocky movies like 300, 400 times because I wanted to be Rocky. Like,
okay, yeah,
just funny that you bring that up.
That is funny. Yeah, I mean, besides like the filming for that movie, I think the only thing that's like a little awkward for me is like maybe Sylvester Stallone's acting at points. Like he just comes off a little stiff.
Sure,
but other than that, it's a really great fighting movie that has a ton of buildup. I mean, like the climax isn't until like the last half hour, pretty much. So, yeah, very good movies I watched.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen it?
I've only seen Rocky 4.
What?
Is that weird?
That is very weird.
They played it at school, for some reason.
What?
I think it had something to do with Cold War escalation.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it was America versus Russia. So that's what it... Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. What I watched, and I put it on our Instagram. I watched the end of Love and Death.
Okay.
I watched the end of Succession, the end of Barry, and then the second episode of White House Plumbers, because I was like, maybe it gets better. And it kind of does.
Okay.
But it's still not like...
Not what you want.
Not crazy about it. But yeah. Love and Death. Wow. Yeah. Really, really, really good.
I've been hesitant to start Love and Death because I feel like I already know like the big points of the story, you know?
No, you don't. You don't.
But you know what I mean? Like I know, like obviously we know the affair starts. We know kind of how it starts, and then I mean I feel like we've seen a lot from the trailers, is what I'm saying. But obviously not from what you're saying. But you know, like then we know the Jesse Plemons' wife is murdered, and then you know, like obviously it's one of those two, and then you know then the trial goes on, and then we know she like eventually does get out of it, you know. So
I didn't know any of that last bit.
Okay,
I didn't know how the court thing went.
I mean, I don't know like how the court thing goes, but I know she eventually like gets off scot-free.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, I guess that might, if you already know that still doesn't take away from the way that it plays out and what you learn along the way and how it's developed.
Right.
So I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at how
much stuff I am missing.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And then the others.
Barry series finale. Yeah, that's I'm surprised nobody's really talking too much about that, at least from what I've seen. It is
art.
It is art. It is art. It really is art.
Yeah.
It's I really want you guys to watch it because it's constantly like again, one of the last scenes I go
wow.
So
I mean, that's very cool. I mean, like, here's the thing. That's the most I can ask for in a show, is to have a great ending, because a lot of shows like don't stick the landing.
Sticks the landing.
Great.
Same thing with Succession. I know some people are like, oh, with the big thing that happened this season, it all kind of started to not work. It was necessary, and it completely works. And this show is a tragedy.
I also feel like
it's fantastic.
I've been having to avoid spoilers on Succession, like all over the place.
Yeah.
Like they're everywhere. So I feel like I've caught a couple here and there, which is kind of rough, but I'm still excited to start that at some point.
It is amazing.
I know we had talked about watching Barry with the group.
Yeah.
But I had been like a couple times wanting to watch something, and I just wanted to start Barry. I mean, I'm assuming
do what you got to do.
Okay.
You know?
Cool.
So, I would love for us all to do it, but
okay. Well, I mean, let's see if the other guys are interested. I guess, but I'm definitely am.
Yeah.
So. But that's all you watched?
Yeah, that was it.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all for listening to episode 24 of the Last Week This Week podcast. Been doing this for steady 4 or 5 months now. 5 months?
5 months?
Yeah. So been
4, 8, 12, 16, 22. More than 5 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Almost 6 months.
Well, we've had a great time talking to each other and talking to you guys as well, and we really appreciate you sticking around and listening.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, but if you want to listen to us again in the future, we upload our podcast on Fridays and Saturdays on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Podbean at Last Week This Week. And if you want to follow us on our social medias, we are at Last Week This Week Pod on Instagram and TikTok. You can support us further by giving us a like, a comment, a rating, or
review,
subscribe.
Subscribe.
Yeah, any of those 5 would be beautiful.
Beautiful.
Would be beautiful.
Beautiful.
Just like you guys. And, we appreciate you again very much, and goodbye.
Yeah, until next time.